Hi guys! It's April and it is that time again. It is time to get back into this Thomas Kinkade poster book, this Tangled page. The idea today is to start hitting those vines and come in and start hitting those flowers and pretty much all of the greenery, see if I can start filling all of that out. But today we're probably only going to go about an hour or so. Hopefully we don't get thunderstorms again. We had some of those earlier this morning. So if it does start to get bad again, I might have to jump off. But it shouldn't get bad. I don't think we have any more in our forecast. So we're going to do this. I am going to go ahead and share this out so that people know we have gone live. And then we'll just get started. Hi, Elizabeth. Hi, everybody in the chat and all of the other viewers. Okay, how do I even want to start this? Because I think I need to go through real quick and I need to eliminate some of the lines. My chair is extra squeaky today. Okay. This is going to be the least exciting part. As I get this figured out. Might have to let it sit there a little bit before I dab it off because I think I just took it all off, which kind of defeats the purpose. The vine is going to be interesting to try to do. I don't feel like it was as substantial in the original picture, but hello, welcome. Let's see if we can slowly but surely. Probably. I know it's not going to be perfect. That's okay. It's all part of the process. And I don't want to get rid of all of the lines. Just the lines that I don't think I'm going to use. Some of them I can work with. Some of them just don't make sense to me. Kind of flatten the ink down so I don't have too much of a texture that I'm trying to work over top of. Honestly, probably get rid of some of this too. Or at least lighten it. I'm probably gonna come in and see this area right here has a lot of those same like flowers shapes that don't necessarily make sense to me, but this is such a kind of flow of flowers that is kind of hard to tell which lines I want to get rid of and which ones I want to keep. I almost want to get rid of like all of the lines in here except for the outside lines, but that would be a lot to try and remove, and that would take some time and some patience. Because see, here I've kind of already, that I can work with. Thank you, Elizabeth. Part of me wonders if I should just kind of work with this flow of color up here first and then worry about this foliage down here after I kind of get a feel for the stuff up here. I think I might do that. Because I don't want to make a decision to like get rid of some lines right now and then regret it when I actually go in to do that section. And I've been working on this picture in sections anyway, so that kind of makes sense. Okay, so that is what I'm gonna do. So they kind of have this foliage just run almost all the way over here. But the thing is, it almost kind of gets misty and light. So I'm gonna grab, I've got a couple of warm grays, and then I've also got a tan that I think will help me get some of that effect. So I'm not gonna use them right away, but they're there for when I need them. I'm going to start with a little bit of my chartreuse green, which is a Holbien 240, kind of like how I normally do, but I'm not actually going to do a full coverage like I have been doing. I'm kind of just going to hit the top of these vines, because the thing is, these are kind of in the background, so they're never going to be quite that sharp lemony green like those edges have been, or that has been, but I do kind of want a hint of it. We have both Elizabeths now. That's exciting. Okay. Didn't really have a tip there, and I'm gonna need some serious tips for this stuff because it's so fine. And I don't even know how well the camera is picking up this nearly neon green. And I'm not going to pull it all the way over here because, like I said, this starts to get knocked back into that mist. And so I don't feel it's appropriate back there. Should just leave my pencil sharpener open. Okay, so next up, I'm also not going to be too heavy-handed with this one, but I have the leaf green, which is a Polychromos, and it is 112. And I'm kind of going to hit some of the same spots that I just hit with that chartreuse, but I'm going to expand it a bit more. I'm not going to keep it so tight up at the top. This one I am going to very lightly hit some of them clear back here, but I'm not going to apply a lot of pressure. Because, like I said, I feel like it's going to get knocked back a little bit, and I don't want it to be too very bright. Okay. Because I feel like there's almost more blue in these vines than anything else. Okay, so the next color I have is my malachite green, which is a Holbien, and it's 255. I try to use the same colors repeatedly within the same picture so that it looks uniform even if I'm working on it in sections. Okay, so here I am going to leave some of it untouched, some of those brights untouched, but I'm going to actually cover the whole vine this time. Forgot some of these vines down here. Sorry, that was just a leaf green. I was going back and hitting some things that I missed. Like I said, I'm using the picture as a reference, but I know I can't mimic it exactly. But it's kind of showing me where the light is hitting, where the dark sections would be. great part about when you're doing foliage is that if you don't want to be like super precise, you want to kind of give it this organic feel, and that like, which is kind of why I go a little bit of circle and why I kind of hint at a little bit of like branches inside of it. The idea is to give it a little bit of depth so it doesn't look too terribly flat. And I have a feeling what's going to happen with the vines back here is I'm going to get kind of the color tone I want. It's going to be a little too dark, and so I'm going to erase a little bit of it and then come back with those grays. So I kind of want to get a little bit of the pigment in the paper, but I'm starting to learn not to be afraid of erasing with colored pencils, because I'm so used to markers that the concept of putting color down just to erase it is a little foreign to me. But I've been doing it quite a bit on this picture, and it's giving me a very interesting look that I like. Okay, so this is the malachite, and it's a Polychromos, and it is $159. So I'm really gonna darken up a lot of these areas around here. But it's really gonna be those indigos and those purples that are gonna give it a lot of its shadow and depth. Hi, welcome. Okay, I intentionally didn't hit it too hard in some areas. I'm gonna come back. This is the leaf green. A little bit of those highlights back, but not too hard. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hit it with the Indanthrine Blue 247. This is a Polychromos. Since we have, I need to sharpen this real quick. Those blue undertones to all of the greens in this picture. Even want a little bit of that blue in the dark area, or in the light areas. I'm trying to keep my touch extremely light so I don't overwhelm that chartreuse with blue, because that is not at all what I want. The thing is, there's actually a few spots of red flowers hidden in these vines. Not very many, but I'm going to see if I can sneak those in, because I know it kind of did the opposite for this bush tree thing over here. We put that red down first, but these red spots are so tiny and I didn't really want to color around them. But I thought I would try to add them on top of everything. So I think that's going to be my next step. It's just adding a few of those red flowers to the vine. To me, it kind of looks like we want to probably start out with a strawberry and kind of just add a few here and there. Like I said, there isn't too many. And just get hints of them. What I think would be interesting is seeing what size this picture was originally painted at. Because there's so many fine details in this that it makes me wonder how big the original painting is. And this is why I went and I erased the weird shapes in this vine, because I knew those were supposed to be these red flowers, but those red dots aren't as big as they were drawn. And so it was a little disconcerting. kind of just want hints. And there's not much in here. And honestly, a lot of this will probably just kind of disappear. Okay, I'm gonna go back in with the crimson, alizarin crimson in the Polychromos, which is 226. Just hitting the same spots, just giving it a little bit of an orangey hue to it. I'm not gonna hit it with the actual vermilion. I'm gonna hold off using that because I don't think we want too much of that orange tone in there. This might be so tiny that you guys can't actually see what I'm doing, so let's zoom in a little bit. So you can kind of pick up a little bit of what's going on. Okay, so we have some of those red flowers on the vine. But I still want to hit, so this is the indigo, so I'm going to add a little bit more blue. I'm going to darken up some of those vines, especially the parts that are like over that little lip of the bridge, and of course the stuff that's clear back by the town. But once again, I need to sharpen my pencil. I probably should have done that before I started. There we go. We don't want to lose too much of that green to the blue. I'm going to come back with my malachite. I'm going to touch up in there just a little bit. I'm almost to the point where I'm going to be flipping back and forth really, really quickly. So if you guys are ever curious what color I am currently using, feel free to ask. And I'm probably going to kind of get myself lost in the details, as per usual. Which is exactly what's happening if I get really, really quiet. Oh, and I was gonna tell you guys, I'm not gonna be doing this picture next week since we're jumping into October, and I just got the cute and creepy pop manga. I was hoping to do one of those pictures next month, and so I am planning on doing a poll over in my community tab and also on Twitter asking you guys which of the pictures inside of that new cute and creepy pop manga coloring book I should do. I have 3 picked out that I am really super excited about. And so I will definitely post that tomorrow so that you guys can vote for it. I'll probably leave the voting open until about Thursday or so. But I'm super excited about getting into that coloring book. I got it in the mail, and there might have been some squealing involved because it is just the cutest thing ever. Well, it's gonna be hard to pick the toughest one because I think they're kind of all the same level. I mean, the pop manga coloring books, I mean, they are they can be overwhelming in them of themselves just because you're trying to color human. I mean, there's one that's relatively would be relatively simple if I chose to make it simple, but we all know how I never take the easy path for whatever reason. Okay, I'm gonna grab the black now, and I'm just gonna hit around some of the edges. Would you guys like to have a sneak peek at the pictures I'm thinking about doing next month? Since you guys are here and live with me, you guys will get the first look if you guys want. And this is just a black, and I just happened to choose the black in the Polychromos line, but you could pretty much use any black. Okay, since you guys are the select and chosen few, I'll show you guys a sneak peek of kind of what I'm thinking about. So let me go grab it real quick. So this is the benefit of watching me live, guys. Okay, so this is the new coloring book, and it's just absolutely adorable. I love it so much. Now, the first one I'm thinking about, which is going to come as no surprise to any of you guys if you know me. She has this like creepy Beauty and the Beast-esque picture that would be great fun to color. There's also this adorable cat that I couldn't say no to. But I have to say that my favorite is probably this poltergeist picture. It is so stinking cute. So those are the three that I'm going to put up in the poll tomorrow for you guys to choose from to decide which one we're going to be coloring throughout the month of October. Hopefully I can actually get it done in October. And then of course we'll come back to this picture for probably for November. And then December we'll probably have a slight Christmassy themed one that we'll do. And then we'll be back into this picture. Okay, so I was using black. So I'm going to go back to the black. So now you guys can kind of see why I'm excited about getting into that coloring book. There's just something about her art style that I really like. Yeah, I might have to attempt to pull some of this back. So now you guys have a while to think about it. And like I said, I'm going to be posting the polls in multiple places. I think I might even post it on my Instagram stories too. So technically, if you follow me on more than one social media platform, you can vote more than once. Just putting that out there. Don't want to get too heavy-handed with the black on this part. Kind of liking how that's looking. Let's zoom back in. Because I think it flows with the level that those trees back there are at. It's kind of over here that I need to play around a little bit with some stuff. This is just the warm gray 2, and this is a Holbien and it's number 522. And to lighten it up just a little bit more, I've got the warm gray 1, which is the 521. Okay, that's actually working pretty well. I'm liking where that's sitting. Because I think once I start coloring that wall, it won't nearly pop out as much as it does. I think I'm actually going to hit parts of this with this white too. Kind of give it a little bit of a hazy look at parts. That's more over here. I think I'm going to leave those ones alone. Ooh, I'm liking that. Okay, so I'm going to come back through and I'm going to re-greenify some of this. This is the malachite green. So I'm going to come back with the leaf green. Bring out those highlights. This is, of course, when I'm starting to add a lot more pressure. They seem so tiny, but they've been taking me so long. Okay, got the chartreuse. really make parts of it pop. Kind of like that. I think maybe I can get a little bit of this kind of done. The problem is I kind of have to decide how to do it because I have like a huge, like in here we've got some white flowers and some red flowers and some yellow flowers and a little bit of blue that pops up in there. So I have to make some decisions on how I'm going to color it. And I think I don't really want to put the color down first and have to green around it, but I think that's what I'm going to have to do for this one. I did pull some of the colors that I thought would fit well. I mean, I've got the grays that I'm going to use for the whites. And then I've got some of these that I'm going to use for some of the purple tones. I've got the reds that I used before, and then I pulled a yellow, and then I've got some blues that I can use as well. So I suppose I can attempt this. I'm going to start with the blues because the flowers that are blue are most obvious in my brain. So for the blue, I have the blue flowers, the blue stalks. I have a combination. I'm going to actually zoom in so maybe you can end up seeing the area I'm talking about a little better. So we're right in here right now. So for the blues, I have this light ultramarine Polychromos, which is a 140. I also have this Sax blue in the Holbien, which is a 395. And so these little stalks right here are what I'm aiming for. We've kind of just got, I think we've got some in here. It's gonna feel weird, but I really need to sharpen my pencils. I'm horrible at sharpening my pencils. I tend to be like, I want to do this. And then in the middle of doing it, I'm like, I probably should have sharpened my pencils. Okay. So both of these blues are pretty similar, but it gives it just a little bit of depth. Okay, and then of course for our red flowers, I have the strawberry 51 in the Holbein and the I can't say that crimson name. It's not gonna come out. But it's the Polychromos 226. Okay, and so I believe it's this section right here that has a lot of those reds in it, because I believe right here we have some whites, and up here we've got some yellows and maybe a little bit of purple, and then we've got yellows and purples again, and then maybe some reds back there. So that's kind of how I'm gonna handle it. And so this one I'm gonna kind of hit more as chunks and not as dots. Just because I think we have a more of a like wave of these than we do just like individual flowers. And I'm probably gonna have to pull out that vermilion a little bit just so we have more of that like bright poppy kind of color. Yes, perfect. And there was a little bit of reds that were implied back here, weren't there? So I'll hit it kind of all with the same 3 colors again. Okay, so the yellow, I have this yellow ochre, which, how do I want to do this? I don't know, but I'm just gonna kind of make it up. We've got a little patch kind of right here. This looks really sketchy. I got it, but think. I'm gonna get this figured out. Okay. So I'm gonna like put color where the white flowers are, but at the same time I know I'm probably more than likely gonna just have to go through and fix that. Okay, so we do have a touch of purple, which is why I have this middle purple pink in the Polychromos, which is 125. I have the Bordeaux red 469 in the Holbien, and then the 190, which is the Venetian red, which is a little bit more of a brown, which I was going to use as an undertone for some of those yellow flowers that are more knocked back. These flowers aren't very big, so I was trying to see if I could kind of emulate them with only a couple of colors, because there's not a ton of room to add more than 2 or 3 different colors per flower. And some of this is just for my benefit, because I don't even know how much of it is actually going to get picked up by the camera. Okay. So I know there's a little bit of these purpley tones in here, kind of overflowing into here, but not too terribly much. Oh, I think I want to pull some whites over there though. Because this is going to start to get really, really muddled when I start adding those greens in there. And sort of kind of what I'm hoping for, but at the same time, whoops, I'm just gonna start throwing colored pencils around. That's cool. Okay, so there isn't a lot of the lighter greens in this, so I think the first green I'm going to start with is the malachite, just so that we get those hints of green. But it's mostly going to be that dark hooker green and then a lot of like the indigo. I think that's going to be most of what's going to happen in this, because this is pretty decently far back and there's a lot of shadows involved. It's going to be interesting. Like I said, I don't really enjoy trying to color around all of these flowers. But I think, I mean, I'll probably have to go through and hit them again once I put the green down and the shadows. But at least I kind of have it marked out how it should go. And I do want some of the green inside in between the flowers. Because see, the white kind of blocked some of that green going in. Which is what I was hoping for. Okay, I'm going to switch to the hooker green now. think I might come back through with my yellow. Darken some of that up over here. So far, that's the only one I'm concerned with. The rest of them seem to be holding up. There we go. Okay, so next we've got the Indanthrone Blue. Start adding the blue undertone. I'm okay with some of that red falling back in the back part, but I don't want to lose it too much up front here. Hi, Dee Dee. Okay, I'm gonna go for the indigo now. So I might come back with the hooker green before I hit it with the black. Just to bring back a little bit of that green. But this is so dark back here that I don't want to brighten it up too much. gonna pull that hooker green back out. Some of my flowers are definitely not as sharp as the flowers in the original, or nearly as vivid, but I still think you get this hint of things that is pretty nice. Let me kind of, it looks a little mushy up close, but let me zoom out for you. So now when you step back a little bit, you can kind of see the hint of those flowers and how those flowers fold out, which is what I was going for. And it's hard to see that when you're up close on top of it. It's all kinds of like mushed together, but it's kind of how pointillism works. I mean, I know this isn't pointillism, but it's like pointillism. I mean, when you're right up on it, it just looks like a mess. But from a distance, you get this hint. Your brain starts to put together this shape of foliage and things like that. I think I'll have to probably go back through and brighten some of those colors just a little bit. But I'm glad that that white right there kind of held up to the greens and the blues I've been adding around it. I want to add mostly the strawberry back up there. And brighten up those blues. Those Bordeaux reds. In other words, purple. And then we got that yellow in the form of the light yellow ochre. I'm going to go over that back one a little bit with the Venetian red down here. And then I can go back with the warm gray one. Brighten some of that back up just a little bit. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to hit it with the black just to darken it a little bit, but I don't think it needs much. Because it's pretty solid as it is. was paranoid about this tiny little section, but I think it turned out pretty well. To be honest, I'm pretty paranoid about most of the sections in this coloring book, but once I get into it and once it starts coming together, here we go. She's messy, but she's mine. So that's, I mean, it doesn't, I went a little over time that I was kind of expecting to go, but I think it was well worth it getting that little section done. You can see where the vines are now, and I think those turned out pretty cool. And then just that section there where you kind of get the hint of flowers, that kind of mimics, it's kind of hard to see because this picture is so small, but it mimics what you see back there. And I think it turned out pretty well. Hi, Robin. But with that being said, I would organize these colored pencils, but let's be honest, they're just all kinds of a mess. I don't know if it's worth it to go through and pull those out. But I think I'll just kind of set those there. And I think this is where we're going to stop for today. I will save the start of moving down this side of the page for November, because I'm just gonna throw the reminder out there that tomorrow I'm gonna be putting a poll up for which picture I should color in the cute and creepy pop manga coloring book for the month of October, so we can get into those Halloween vibes. I will be back here, of course, next Sunday, same time, same place, 11 Central. I will put up a reminder like I have been doing. I almost kind of forgot this week, but I got it out there yesterday. But I will put a reminder so that YouTube will notify you and you can set that reminder. But otherwise, I want to thank each and every one of you for coming and hanging out with me today and getting a feel for these little details in the flowers and the foliage. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend and, of course, a great week. And I hope to see you guys all back next Sunday in A Heart to Beautiful Faces. Bye.